Kick it.
Hello, all of you Slimesters, and welcome to our last Collector's Corner of the season. Don't worry, we're going to bring more back next season because I love doing these. But we are joined this episode once again by the one and only Russ Montague. Thank you for coming out again, buddy.
Woohoo!
Hey, welcome, Russ.
Thanks so much, guys. Love to do this. Always exciting, Alex, when I get a message from you because I'm like, is this it? Is this the ask? So I'm ready.
No, Russ, he has been featured previously on a few episodes. More specifically, the Collector's Corner, the last one that we did. It was actually, I think, the first Collector's Corner episode we did. We had Russ on there.
I think so, yeah.
And we had some people in the comment section. Can we please bring this guy back for a part 2 because he's got so many great things, such great stories that go around it. And today's going to be a bit different. One of the things, I mean, there's so many things I love about Russ and his collection, but Russ in particular is he pays attention. He was just telling us beforehand that he was watching the other collectors' corners and watching the things that they were showing. What has he shown? He's taken notes so that way he can find other things that other people haven't shown. He wants to give something different, and I love that because there's so many things out there. And this collection that he's going to share with us today is a bit different, and I'm excited about it because we're going to dive a little into TGIF territory, which we have done on the show before. We've one episode a season, we diverge away from the Nickelodeon and into other 90s fare. We've dived into TGIF a couple of times, and also I think we might get some Nick at Night stuff, which is why we've got Manny in full black and white here ready to
He's not Rod Serling.
Ready for the talking tables, y'all. Let's do this. Y'all.
Don't adjust your TV set. That's how it's supposed to look.
Don't adjust your dial. There we go. We're ready. Let's get my cans on and let's go.
So I'm going to pass the microphone over to Russ and let you take it away, bud.
Thanks so much, guys. Again, thanks for having me. Super excited, and I want to, before I even get into any of this stuff, I want to say that I mentally I'm preparing for the next Nickelodeon Collector's Corner, and I've got some stuff. It's almost hard for me to figure out like how to narrow it down, but I think I've got a really cool one for the next time. So, should I be lucky enough to be invited back, and it would be my fifth,
you're invited
that's a
back.
big deal.
Open invitation.
Love it. That's the big 5, right? So I get the jacket as
That's right.
Five Timers Club.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
So I'll have a really great one there. But tonight I would like to take a trip through the other part of my brain that scratches an itch when I think about the 90s, which is TGIF, TNBC, just all these blocks of shows and great shows. We think about SNCC. SNCC is always my go-to block of shows, but TGIF was another heavy hitter. You had, all Disney's One Saturday Morning. You had TNBC. You had all these different things that were great. And so I have just spent so much time. I'm such a big collector. I'm a very focused collector. I like what I like. And I really focus on collecting it. And over the past, 20, 30 years, I've really put a lot of time into collecting what I've got here. And so what I'm going to show you guys today, I've got about 20 different items, and I'm excited to show them. I've never, I've posted a little bit on my Instagram, but I've never really brought them out for anyone to see. So what's cool about this is, number one, none of this stuff is able to be purchased. This is nothing off the shelf. This is all either entertainment memorabilia, crew gifts, and some actual props.
Right on.
And when I say, props are pretty difficult to find from these older shows. We know they keep a lot of this stuff. So I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to start light, and then we're going to get into some heavy hitters. The real exciting thing is the bulk of it comes down to two of my three favorite shows. My first favorite show of all time is Doug. We're not doing anything Doug today. That's okay because I get to go with show 2 and 3. My second favorite show is Saved by the Bell, and my third favorite show is Full House. And these are, I was obsessed with these shows growing up, and it is really cool to own some of what I own. So, let's jump in. If you guys are ready, we're gonna dive right in the deep end.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm
Go for it.
I am
Listeners, are you ready?
Edge of my seat. Listeners, if you're just listening, what are you doing? Go on YouTube and watch.
Yes.
Showing some
Oh
awesome
yeah,
stuff.
this is visual, all day visual, guys. This is visual. So I'm gonna start with a show that's possibly a little forgotten, but boy did I love this. After the Brady Bunch ended, they brought out a little thing called Step by Step.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great show.
Mm-hmm.
Suzanne Summers, Patrick Duffy, good run, but we all remember Cody. Cody was the man. We all loved Cody.
Yeah.
That was the show, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot out for Step by Step. It's really. I've got the DVDs. I don't think they make them anymore. I think you can stream it. That's about it. It kind of was a big show and then it was gone.
Yeah.
So not a lot, but I am going to start with two cool things that I have. So as it turns out, when you're filming shows, milestone episodes are a big deal, and you're going to see that throughout some of my collections here. So the first is this step-by-step 100th episode script signed by the cast. What a cool item. So this, for 100 episodes of any show is a big deal.
Yeah.
And, head to toe signed by the whole cast. And this is in great condition. Just a great script. I don't even know what the plot of this episode was, but for those who are fans and want to look it up, it's called Thorn Between Two Mothers. So, and I will say my second item is kind of like my first item. It is also the 150th script autographed by the cast as well. So evidently someone on the show that worked for the show had these and parted ways, and they were fortunate enough to come to me. And I will say, for those who were wondering, this is called Goodbye, Mr. Chip. What's interesting about Step by Step is I don't remember a lot, but I certainly don't remember this little girl. They had a daughter at some point. That's kind of fuzzy for me. And I did the run of the show maybe 5-6 years ago. So, but anyways, not a lot on Step by Step. But listen, it was in the TGIF lineup, so got to give it its respect. Were you guys Step by Step fans?
Oh man, yeah, I watched Step
it,
by Step back in the day, and I always return at least for the Halloween episode each year. And then I'm out here in LA, and one of the theme parks here is Magic Mountain, which watch Step by Step. The theme park that is in the beginning is Magic Mountain. Now they do a weird painting thing to put it by the sea, and there's like this weird ocean, even though the actual theme park is very inland. It's in Santa Clarita. It's nowhere near the ocean. But yeah, I always think about the roller coaster because it's now Twisted Colossus, was just Colossus back then. But yeah, the classic red and white, that roller coaster's and plenty of other things. It's also the same roller coaster from National Lampoon's Vacation. And it's in a few other things as well. But yeah, I love Step by Step. The great theme song, Step by Step,
day by day.
And so yeah, I mean it's a classic show, but it is one of those shows, that's very of the 90s, and it's like after the 90s passed, Step by Step, after it ran long enough, just kind of disappeared with the sitcoms.
Yeah.
It sort of lived there. It lived in the 90s. It didn't, it's like Full House is still airing, Saved by the Bell had a shoot, and, but Step by Step kind of died out. And it's interesting too. I think it's had a bit of a rebirth with a lot of the, the different podcasts with different, people from the show. They kind of talk about it a bit, but it is interesting to see. I did the rewatch not that long ago, and yeah, I think it was all about Cody. The minute Cody hits that show, that's it. It's game over. They just focus right on him, and for great reasons. He was great in that. and then of course the actor Sasha, he went on to have nothing but legal troubles. So that's a podcast for another day.
It's almost like the Urkel syndrome,
effect, exactly.
100%.
Because as soon as Urkel came, boom, it's all about him.
That's it. And, and Urkel was like like episode 3.
Yeah, he was
like
like a side character. That was it.
Yeah, it's
Totally,
very funny how he
totally.
consumes the
Family
show.
matters. He's not one of the family, but family man.
Who's this
Yeah.
guy that lives in our house?
Yeah.
So keeping on the same sort of wavelength of what I just showed you, we're gonna move to another favorite of mine, Boy Meets World, which, as we know,
Great
started
show.
on kind of the Disney Channel. Here in Canada, it was the Family Channel, but then of course jumped over to the TGIF world. And again, not a lot. I think recently they came out with some Funko Pops of Cory and Topanga. That's about it. I don't have a lot on that. That's okay. The heavy hitters are coming later. But what I do have are two really cool things. So the first is an original shooting script for a really great episode called Turkey Day. And this is their Thanksgiving episode where Sean and Cory want to get their two families together to celebrate Thanksgiving together. And so scripts are pretty hard to come by. This one's really sort of worn and torn. It does have, some notes throughout it that are written. I love a good holiday episode. So to have an original holiday, especially Thanksgiving, the only thing better would be a Christmas. But this is pretty nice. But I'm going to follow it up with another script for an episode called "I'm Going to Be Like You, Dad." And this script is where Eric wants to drop out of school and join the family business like his dad. Cory in this has the B plot. The B plot is he gets a health test and he thinks he won't live for very long. But what's really nice about this script is it is completely cast signed. And they're all on there.
That's awesome.
So everyone from, you got Ben Savage, who is down here, Ryder Strong, Danielle, Will, they're all on here. So a nice cast script and like a good signed script, everything bleeds through to the other side. So you know how authentic and non-photocopied that was. So nice to have. This one's also got some of the later characters, Matthew Lawrence, Trina, a later season episode. And I don't know who they were autographing this to, but Trina wrote "Do It Yourself." So I don't know what that's in reference to, but she does write that down at the bottom. We'll never know, but
she does her own stunts. There we go.
She does her own stunts. So, hey, whatever. Listen, I think this next thing I'm going to show you is possibly the only thing that may have come out of this show. We're gonna jump away for a minute from TGIF, and we're gonna go to a smaller show that I did adore on the TNBC morning. It was the sister show to Saved by the Bell, a little beauty I like to call California Dreams, and original tickets to a taping. I don't know how these survived, but these beauties still exist, and pretty cool. Pretty cool. So these are from on Friday, September 18th, 1992, and it says showtime 4:30 p.m. Guests must arrive by 3:30 p.m. So very interesting. They filmed later in the day. So kind of cool. Were you guys California Dreams fans? I love the show.
It existed.
That was a little before my time, I guess. I mean, not before my time, but like I wasn't in the age demo when it was airing.
Yeah,
I just never heard of it.
I've maybe caught 2 episodes.
I adored it. I don't know why. I was at that perfect age. I was hooked. Like they could have put anything on after Saved by the Bell, and you just hook, line, and sinker had me in. So, but I love it. There's not much for it. Not many of those people on that cast have gone on and done anything else. Although I was watching 90210 the other day, one of the originals, and one of the girls from California Dreams was on there. So that was nice to see her. Okay, now hold your breath. We're getting to the really good stuff. This is the really fun stuff. This is where I think we step out of what we've been in and we step into some big stuff.
You mean step by step?
I mean step by step.
Day by day.
That's the joke. The joke is I'm rereading back my step by step collection, and it wasn't done. I was debating: do I do Saved by the Bell first, and then go with Full House? Because largely speaking, Full House is the bigger show, right? I believe Full House is the granddaddy of the shows. But I've decided to do Full House first because the Saved by the Bell stuff is just so much better. So before we get into Full House, I would just love to know what some of you guys' relationships with that show was like. Like, what are your memories?
Anyone want to go first?
Go ahead, Manny.
Me,
I'll go first then. Okay, so Full House. I explained this on the Full House episode that we did a few months back. Unfortunately, I didn't grow up with it because my family was not really much sitcom watchers, and I've seen like so many parodies and jokes about Full House growing up that it's like, oh, it's that cornball show with like all the love and like all the But then I got
oh,
introduced to that when I was a bit older, probably like 30, and I loved it. I loved every episode. Like I've watched like the run of the show like twice or three times by now, and I just love that show. It's great. Unfortunately, the reboot, I'm not a fan of the reboot. Like Fuller House, it just I
Yeah.
feel like it tries a little too hard. But
Cat,
Full House, definitely, I love it, and it's such a shame that I didn't get catch on to that at a younger age because I definitely I would have loved it because the jokes still hit. It's so funny, and as soon as Michelle gets a bit older, she's a really great actress, and
Mhm.
she has great comic timing. And I'm not just saying that; it's really truly a gem. So
Cat,
I love it.
Cat, what about you?
I watched it. Well, I'm the same age as Mary Kate and Ashley, so I like when I was like 3 or 4 years old, I might have started watching it just like when it was casually on when my parents were watching it, and I remember watching the episodes, yeah, from when I was like five to like 6 and 7, like to when the show ended. But I haven't really gone back and purposely like rewatched the entire series again, the way that Manny, you said you watched like the series in a run. I just
Yeah.
remember watching the episodes like as they aired when I was a kid. There were a couple that stick out in my mind, but for the most part, it was like a one and done kind of thing. I would catch some reruns every now and then, but yeah, I haven't sat down to give the entire series a rewatch.
I mean, what piqued my interest too was like later on with the internet coming out, I didn't know there was a different Danny Tanner in the beginning. So I was like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, that's interesting. So that's sort of what piqued my interest to check the
yeah.
series out myself too.
I
Jordy?
like Stephanie. She's my favorite character.
Stephanie,
Oh,
yeah,
I
Yeah.
she's
love
great.
Jodie
No
Sweetin's
doubt.
delivery. She's oh,
Yeah.
so good.
No, I was a huge Full House fan. I was a big sitcom fan as a kid. I watched pretty much all of the sitcoms. So Full House being, the penultimate sitcom of the 90s, and that show was rerun so much. It took up huge blocks, and it was a big show. And there's so many big moments in that show. I think of all the shows, it did a really good job with the emotional significance of character growth throughout the show. When there was a big moment, they really, between the music, which the great soundtrack to the show, the actors' performances, it really is a standout cast. I mean, it's hard to pick a favorite. I love Joey, I love Jesse, I love Danny. The Danny's relationship, being, he lost his wife and he moves in with, his wife's brother and his brother, and it's like this whole family dynamic. I don't know, it was just such a really good show. And I mean, there's a lot of standout things from the show, and I think one of the most standout things is I'm like, I would not take my family to a picnic in the middle of San Francisco where they took them. I know that park, and that is not a safe park. But outside of that, I mean, it's such a great show. And I mean, the layout of the house is like the perfect sitcom house layout, in my opinion. You got
Hmm.
the upstairs, you got the back, you got the living room, you got people always coming through the front door, or you got the back, where the kitchen is. And man, I have that house memorized inside of my head. I feel like I could find my way around the Tanner household very easily.
Yeah,
And
very
yeah,
easily.
That's
Mary
awesome.
Kate and Ashley as well. I mean, huge stars. This was their start.
Mhm.
I believe that was the first thing they ever did. They were
Yeah.
babies, and if they were in
Yeah.
anything else before that, I don't know. But yeah, it's that they went on to do tons of other stuff, and I was a big Mary Kate and Ashley fan as a kid as well. Mary Kate and Ashley Adventure, their mystery tapes,
Yeah.
their sleepover tapes that they had. I mean, I have a
Music
sister.
videos.
I have
Yeah.
a sister, so
Mhm.
a lot of the stuff that she has is also stuff that I'd watch as well. And I love Mary Kate and Ashley, and I still love Mary Kate and Ashley. So,
Well,
Full
to
House is
to keep mine very, very brief, I love Full House. I did watch it when I was a kid, and it never stopped airing in my house ever. And my wife Megan, she absolutely loves the show too. We have all of them on DVD. We've watched the whole series numerous times. We did watch all of Fuller House, and we enjoyed Fuller House. We enjoyed it very, very much. Not as much as the original series, but I remember crying when Michelle and Jesse were crying over Papuli.
Yeah, that was
Mhm.
hard.
I remember getting genuinely concerned when Michelle was lost in Disney World.
yeah.
I remember being heartbroken when Michelle lost her memory. Uh, I remember being touched when Mickey Rooney actually called his family and was super happy to hear from his family on Christmas. And I mean, I have so many memories of that show. I love that
Mhm.
show. That is my favorite show of TGIF.
I love it. I love that, and I thank you guys so much for sharing your your different perspectives on it. So Full House for me was like the first show that really clicked with me. Growing up, I loved just so much of but Full House was that show. It was, and when it originally aired, it was Tuesday nights at 8. That was like its original slot, and there was nowhere else in the world I was going to be but home watching Full House. Even to the point where I was on a Disney World vacation when the last episode aired, and I remember saying to my parents, like, I have to watch it. Like, there's, where else am I going to be? That like we come home from like Epcot or something like that, and what's really interesting too is the way weird little things with Full House would happen in my life. So I had a friend who went to Disney World and just happened to be there when they were filming
Oh
that
wow.
those
Mm.
episodes, and she had
That's
all she had
crazy.
like a disposable camera and she came back with all these photos like right up close to the cast. And I remember getting that she brought them for show and tell, and I got to see all that stuff. And I remember going to San Francisco. And the first time I ever went there, I was like, boom, right to the Full House home. So it's like I had to check it out. Super big part of my life. And even now, anytime, I go to Disney World many times a year. And when I go there, I'm always in the different spaces where they were in. And, you hear Steve's voice as you're passing the Aladdin ride. It's still pumping out. Or,
Yep.
Love
you're
Steve.
you go to the Germany pavilion in Epcot and it's like, hey, this is where Danny and Vicky dance. And they have
Yeah.
that sort of scene where the tuba guys come out.
Mhm.
And, largely that area is very untouched. And just all I stay at the Grand Floridian, often, and that's where they filmed a lot of, the boat you get on is where Becky wants to have the picnic with Jesse. So there's a lot of
Mhm.
really cool things. So Full House is a real important show for me, and it's interesting. I'm rewatching it right now, as I work out in the gym every day, and I've rewatched it many times. And every time I do, I re-fall in love with my favorite scenes, and I find new favorite scenes and new sort of funny things. And what's really weird is as time goes on, these characters are forever frozen in this show. But we know that we've lost Bob Saget, and now Dave Coulier has he's got cancer, and
Mhm.
just things happen, right? People age, and things happen, and it's it's wild. And so I'm just glad we have that time capsule of what that is. But I have done everything I could to hunt down as much Full House stuff. Um, and there's not a lot. There's really not a lot. When you really think of the show, what are some key props people could have, right? I think some of the biggest would be like Mr. Bear, Stephanie's bear.
Mr.
Yeah.
Bear.
Mr. Bear would be ultimate. Um,
Jesse's
you've got,
keyboard.
they're
Joey's
just
mannequin.
right. So like Joey's mannequin, his Popeye dolls from his room.
Yeah.
There are, a pink bunny from Jesse's wall. Like there are things that are, the couch cushions, which they kind of reference in Fuller House. They kind of give Danny a couch cushion. They save him one when they change it or whatever. So, but there's not a lot. There's really not a lot. And unfortunately, I don't have any props, but I do have some cool stuff. And so I'm going to take you guys through my very limited but very prized Full House collection. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and say this collection and the Saved by the Bell collection are the two largest collections that I think exist. And the reason I'm going to say that is because I want to be challenged. I want to know who has better stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're hearing this and you have a better collection, please show me up. Because if this is the biggest collection, we don't have a lot. So, okay, here we go. So we're going to start with what we've already seen a little bit tonight, some scripts. But these are actually really nice scripts. So the first one is a final shooting script of it's called Michelle Matchmaker. And so this is a script from the episode where Michelle is trying to, she's a little older, and she's trying to get Danny in a relationship. And she sort of hooks him up with her teacher, who's like 20 years older. And I believe is played by like some famous, sitcom mom of the past. Just a really nice conditioned script. Really no notes in it. It's kind of a final script, probably just, I don't know, belong to whomever. But very nice, very, very nice condition. Full House scripts are super, super hard to come by for whatever reason, because there should be so many of them, but there's none.
Yeah.
But this next one is actually a script that Alex, you referenced. So this is Michelle Rides Again, part 2, which is the last episode. And this is the last of the last episode. This is the second part. And it's completely cast autographed.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Which is pretty awesome. So some cool things I do want to point out. And also, what's really nice is Jodie Sweetin wrote an accompanying note about it personally. So this is a personal note from her with the script. Now, I want to point out a couple cool things. You can see Ashley just signs Ashley, Mary Kate down here at the bottom, but Nikki and Alex have stamps for their name. Those are just stamps. Everybody else hand signed.
Right.
Obviously, they're too young, so they just stamped them on.
That's cute.
So this is also a shooting script, and it's nice to have the provenance of a note from Jodie herself. So kind of a cool thing, not something I think a lot of people have, and
that's
it's
like
nice to have
personalized.
really cool, right? So pretty excited about that. Now, something that I think is also really rare, and you just saw this with California Dreams, but a Full House shooting ticket.
Oh, wow.
So
is that
cool.
The font.
That's
the font's a little strange.
I did some digging. So this is from Friday, July 30th, 1993. Showtime at 5:30 p.m. Guests arrive by 4:30 p.m. This is at the Warner Brothers Studio stage in Burbank. Now, what's interesting is I did a little searching, and Friday, July 30th, 1993 would have been season 7. So season 7 has some pivotal episodes. This is where Jesse takes ownership of the Smash Club. It's we're in Smash Club stuff. Teddy has, Michelle's friend Teddy has left. Vicky and Danny break up. So season 7 is a big season. Season 8 is the final season. So interestingly enough, second last season at Ticket. And I have 2 of them, just have 1 here.
I wonder why the logo is different.
Yeah.
That's the original logo. So this is the original logo for Full House.
That's why I thought it was one of the earlier seasons.
Yeah, so you would think. Now, moving to a newer logo, this is kind of a weird, and dare I say really, just the weirdest item of all that you're going to see tonight. It is a 100th episode item. So, of course, as we just saw, they produce 100 episodes, and they make some tchotchke for whatever reason with it. I don't know why this is the tchotchke that you're about to see. I don't know why this would have been something, even in the 90s, that someone would have selected as something anybody would want. But here we are. And it's one of those things, a bidding war ensues. I win, gotta have it, then I get it, and I'm not really sure what I got. But anyways, it is I guess it's a candle, and it has the Full House logo inscribed on it, and it says 100th episode, November 12th, 1991. And I suppose you are to fill it up with, I don't know,
oil?
I don't even know.
It's like an oil lamp or something. Yeah.
Yeah, like a weird oil lamp. So that's what this is. I can't imagine there are like I feel
Yeah.
like this.
It's like
It's
a trophy or
did
something.
they like have a party for the 100th episode? They had like table
I
like
guess like
Yeah, like
how many of these?
decoration.
place
Yeah.
Yeah,
setting type decor,
Oh,
and that was one of
maybe like
them.
a table centerpiece. Yeah, and
Yeah,
someone grabbed
it's
it.
you know
centerpiece.
what's interesting. It's kind of one of those things that like if you worked on the show and they were like, "Hey, we're giving these for everybody for the 100th episode," you might be inclined to be like, "I'm okay. I don't think I
Right?
need this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's gonna
That
break on my car ride home.
that gives
And in
centerpiece
fact,
vibes to
you
me.
notice the one this so it's got one leg here, one is broken. I have it. It broke in shipping, but gluing glass to glass is an
Difficult.
arduous process. So I'll fix it another time.
Mm.
I mean, look, it's crew, which is cool. But the item itself is terrible. But you know what, guys? That's okay because it is made up for by the next item, which is so good. This is arguably one of the best crew items I've ever seen. This is the wrap up crew item for 1989 to 1990, which was season 3 to 4 in that zone. And it is a mug with the entire family
Oh,
painted on it.
wow.
Coming out of the
Oh.
house. It's like Animal House style, kind
They're
of.
all busting out. Now, my only critique is the dark gray color.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lighter mug would have looked a lot better. But you've got the whole cast. You've got Becky off here to the side, Jesse. You've got Kimmy. You've got
Wow.
everybody. And you can really tell the age with Michelle in the corner there. You know, she's
Yeah.
just kind of in that talking phase.
That might
What a
be
great
season
item.
3 or something, maybe.
I think this
Yeah.
is season 3, and it is printed on both sides. But I've never seen another one like it. I certainly don't use it, despite the fact that I would love to. I'm just so worried about breaking it. So,
Oh, yeah.
but what a wonderful item! Is this not a
Very
great?
cool.
Yeah,
Like,
does it glow in the
some-
dark?
I wish it did. It does not. It doesn't do much more than sit here and
No, it's just,
you know,
with the neon color, I was just curious. It looks like
you would think it might.
yeah,
You know what's
yeah.
interesting to me is that I would love to see the original artwork for this. Someone had to sit down and like sketch
Yeah,
all of this.
there was a
and then,
lot
you know,
of time in that.
a lot of time and effort went into that. So, arguably one of my favorite items. I think I bought that for like $2 on eBay
wow.
years ago. Like
What?
nobody saw it. I know, no one saw it coming. I picked it up for nothing. Pretty
Oh, wow.
wild. Now, I will say that is it for the Full House collection. Not a lot that exists out there, and it's sad. And I would love to know what other props do exist and where they are and who's got them. But I do have a little bit of fun facts, which you guys probably already know, but I'm going to throw it out there anyways for the listeners who
Go
don't.
for it.
So Full House largely got canceled because of the show Friends. Friends came out and it really shut down the campy and brought us into like real life type of sitcoms.
Hmm.
As that's happening, something really interesting is that, as you know, they reuse set pieces and props and also. So we know, you know, the Saved by the Bell set becomes That's So Raven. That's a very famous
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people don't know this. The Full House upstairs hallway becomes the Friends hallway. So the hallway where Monica and
Oh.
Joey, they're two apartments, Monica and Rachel,
Oh,
and Joey and
wow.
Chandler.
Really?
I can't unsee
that
it now.
hallway gets
I
a
can
little
see it in my
bit
head.
it gets a
Wow.
little bit refabricated, and it goes from being the Full House upstairs to theirs. Pretty cool, right? So
That's
interesting
neat.
how
Wow.
I thought that was a really cool thing to know. So
Yeah.
excuse me. Okay, so we're moving on. Pardon me.
Bless you.
To the Saved by the Bell section of this podcast, and I want to say Saved by the Bell is a show that's really near and dear to my heart. So I don't know why I connected with it the way I did. You know, why do we connect with whatever, right? Whatever.
Exactly.
Mhm.
It speaks to you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
speaks to us. So once again, a quick round robin. What did Saved by the Bell mean to you guys?
Well,
Why don't we go in the same order?
yeah, let's go with the
again?
same order.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
start
Manny.
with Manny
Same
and
order.
go around. Yeah.
Honestly, I found it very strange because when I first watched it, it was the Good Morning Miss Bliss show.
That's right.
Because I started watching it on streaming years ago, and it was a completely different show, but it was like the same cast. And then after that, season 2 happened, and it was like, oh, this is the Saved by the Bell show that I know. So I didn't know it had that beginning. I like the cast of characters. Definitely all that stuff didn't happen in high school when I went to high school, but it's definitely great hijinks. But honestly, it was a great show also for its time. And I think more and more generations are starting to find this show and love it as
Hmm.
well. I don't think that show will ever die down. It's like, it's like I Love Lucy or Married with Children or something. It'll just keep on going on.
Yeah.
So that's what
Absolutely.
I think about it.
Okay.
I remember watching it, like I was a casual watcher of the show. I don't remember very many specifics. I remember, like, I'm so excited, like, of course, like certain episodes.
Sure.
Um but yeah, I don't know. I think I was more into, like, I guess the Nickelodeon equivalent, like Welcome Freshmen, than I was Saved by
Yeah.
the
Right.
Bell.
I
Right.
But
like the 15
yeah,
show, so yeah, I get
15 with the purple dress.
it.
No.
No.
Yeah, I enjoyed Saved by the Bell. I caught it while it was airing episodes, and I mean, I think of all the characters, I like Screech the most. I kind of related, I guess, to him the most. But when I really got into it was when it came back onto air. I think they had it on VH1 or MTV, and they would play it in the morning. And
MTV2 specifically.
MTV2. Okay, there you go. Exactly. Yeah. So when I was in high school and I was getting ready for school, that would be playing on MTV2. So I'd see it every morning. I'd be catching the reruns again, and yeah, it's just a comfy show. I think that's what it comes down to. It's a very comfortable
Hmm.
show. It, like Manny said, it's not that realistic to what high school could be like, but it is a little bit of a timepiece of, like, back to school in the 90s, and a lot of the things I loved about Saved by the Bell kind of carried into other shows like Boy Meets World. So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, and the only thing I have remaining of what I had of Saved by the Bells, I have one VHS tape, and then I've got the board game, which I still have yet to try to play. But yeah, it should have all the pieces. But yeah, Saved by the Bell is great.
And I say it's generational because I caught it on Adult Swim out of all places. So it's like
That
they
makes
started
sense.
running, yeah, they started running the show in 2006, I think as a joke, but it gained so many fans. So they ran the show at like
It really
2
did.
a.m. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Wow.
great.
And I think they had that show that, like, Zach Morris's Trash. I don't know if you've ever
Yeah,
seen that.
Yeah.
yeah, yes.
That really brought it back.
It
Yeah.
did. It really did.
I haven't seen a single episode. I never have.
Wow.
It's not that I disliked it. It's just there was always something else that I wanted to watch that
Right.
was on that got my interest more. My wife, I see, my wife loves that show. Absolutely loves that show, and she's watched it a few times. She's got them on DVD as well, and I'm sure I would love it. Because it's, I mean, like that and Step by Step. I never have watched Step by Step, but my wife has watched all of those. So a lot of the sitcom stuff I missed, and I'd like to go back and check it out because there's so much love for it, and I would like to jump into it because Welcome Freshman feels very much like
Yeah.
Saved by the Bell for kids, like the Nickelodeon
Yep.
demographic,
Hmm.
and I enjoy Welcome Freshmen. So, and I love all the cheesy '90s sitcom stuff. So I'm sure I would love it. Just haven't had a chance to watch it.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, you're missing out. It is a great show. Sometimes, though, they are a product of their era. So, if you didn't watch it while you were growing up, to watch it now, it may just not catch. It may not hit you the same way. So, for me, again, Saved by the Bell is another one where it's like every day I'd come home from school, there was like an hour long block of Saved by the Bell. Much like Full House, you were just for years and years and years, the same episodes over and over. You can recite them. It's really cool. There's a lot of things on it. Tori Spelling gets her acting sort of debut on Saved by the
Mhm.
Bell. Um, what a couple of interesting things. So here in Canada, we have a show called Degrassi. I don't know if you guys
Oh
are
yeah,
familiar with this.
Degrassi.
You guys are familiar, probably more so with the newer Degrassi, but the original Degrassi is pretty amazing as well. Degrassi is all filmed here around me, and it's just like a Canadian staple growing up. Everybody, if you know anybody in Canada, they know someone who was on Degrassi. What's interesting is Brandon Turnicott, the then CEO and president of NBC, tried to buy Degrassi and bring it to the States. And when when the CBC would not sell it, the Canadian Broadcast System, our corporation would not sell it, he created Saved by the Bell. So Saved by the Bell is what Degrassi was. Now Degrassi is super serious and it's not campy. There's no laugh track. Saved by the Bell is what he created. And Manny, to your point, originally he had Haley Mills star in it. She was Miss Bliss, and it was called Good Morning, Miss Bliss. And it was supposed to center around her. And very quickly, the audience was like, well, we don't care about her. Focus on these kids. So they grabbed the three they liked. They suddenly moved them from their original setting of Ohio to basically like Palisades. Like, they're just all surfers in California. And we get Kelly, we get Jesse, we get Slater, we get all these, these main characters come on. And the three originals, Zach, Screech, and Lisa, kind of make this move from Ohio, and it's never really talked about. A couple other fun points for those who remember the summer episodes, the beach episodes, when they worked at the beach club. That is the same beach club as in 90210 when season 2, when Brandon goes and works at the beach club for the summer. So again, not a lot of, you're in that TMZ, that 30-mile zone, not a lot of places to film. Yeah. So that's where. So, anyways, I'm going to jump in and show some of my collection. I'm actually going to go ahead and say this is the biggest like Saved by the Bell collection in terms of non-purchasable items, especially props, props. And even if you've never seen the show, I think you're going to recognize, not just recognize the props, but recognize the importance of them. But definitely, for the purposes of this, Jordy, I think you're in for a real treat here, man. Because if you were into the show the most out of the crew here, you're gonna love this.
Yeah.
So, is this another challenge, Russ?
It may be.
It may be.
But
all right.
Listen, definitely, if you're only listening to this podcast, this is where you really want to get online and watch it, because these are some great things. So I'm going to go through the tried and true stuff that we've already seen tonight. I'm going to go through a little bit quicker. We've got a couple scripts. These scripts are a little bit harder to come by. We've got Boss Lady, which is from when they were in the summer, the beach club. Stacy is a key character in this. She is, I forget her name now, super famous actress. Leah Remedy, I think that's her name. So she plays Stacy. This is signed by Zach Mark Paul. When I met up with him, he was gracious enough to sign. And it's written by Bennett Tramer, who has become an acquaintance of mine, someone I do correspond with. And as is the Hawaiian style, this is kind of their version of, nice. Of a movie. Directed by the late, great Don Barnhart. That's not going to mean anything to anybody, but for those who know Don Barnhart, what a man. And not with us anymore, but fantastic director. Now, I want to say, Bennett Tramer, who wrote a lot of this show, also did a very, very low-key movie called Camp Cucamonga, which not a lot of people have heard of. And it is on YouTube, and it is starring Urkel, DJ. It's got like all these like people who later were in these shows. They go to a summer camp. So think Camp Rock, no music, and it's a bunch of TGIF kids together. Wow.
It's like Meatballs with TGIF.
I feel like what I'm hearing here is none of you guys have seen it. I think it would be a great podcast to watch it and then do your reviews. It is as great as it is bad. So
I would love to check it out.
Let's do it.
And Bennett, who wrote it, would 100% do the show. I will make that happen.
Russ, watch it with us. Watch it with us.
I would love to. Listen, I go through a Camp Cucamonga watch every once in a while. It is as good as it is bad. We got to do it. I will do it. We'll set that up.
A dose of Cucamonga.
Yes.
So next up, again, some tickets, some Saved by the Bell
Wow.
tickets.
Oh, right
Don't know how I
on.
keep coming across these wonderful tickets, but I do. So these are
Pristine
from
condition, it looks like too, all of
yeah,
them.
five of them in really great shape. The interesting thing about tickets is that you gave them in and they either tore them or they took them. So all the tickets I have are from people who had tickets who didn't end up going to a taping. And I'll be honest with you, if I knew that I could have gone to a Saved by the Bell or Full House taping and I didn't go, I would be very upset with myself.
Don't they also give them
We need
out
to
to
make a time machine.
some of the crew or some of the producers and stuff? Don't they
You're
sometimes
right.
have
You're
extra?
right. So I think I think
Yeah.
filling the audience is largely problematic in general, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's why the
Yeah.
tickets are free. So something really interesting that used to happen with some of these shows, especially things like the Mickey Mouse Club, is that they used to go on mall tours. They would go to malls and the kids would sit there and line up and you'd go down and get an autograph. So
Mhm.
this is from a mall tour, and it is only signed by two cast members, Tiffany Amber Thiessen and Mark Paul, Zach and Kelly. But this is an original, and it's hard to see their autographs. There's Tiffany up there, and then Mark
That's
Paul
awesome.
is
Oh
down
man.
here. So whoever went down the line evidently did not like the rest of the crew because they stopped after Zach and Kelly.
Or maybe
But
that's all who was there. Maybe.
Like
it could have
Screech.
been. I like to think they said, you know what, to heck with the rest of you. I got what I got. But kind of cool that this is the original press kit, and it's actually got up here. This is the original guy who played Max on the show, Ed Alonzo, I believe his name is. He's like a famous musician or a magician still in Vegas. You see him from time to time. You might recognize him, but he was originally cast on the show. And of course, we have Mr. Belding, Dennis
Yeah.
Haskins, who is still kicking it today,
Yeah.
still milking that Mr. Belding, life that he does. So moving on, now we're into the best of the best. And, when Saved by the Bell ended, Saved by the Bell, the new class came out. Now, it's not great.
It's
But
like the college years, right?
it's like the college years. I celebrate the entire collection, right? We love what we love. And really, really cool. There was a contest done by Tiger Beat magazine. If you remember Tiger Beat, when we were young, it's just one of those magazines that's got all like the hunky boys and hot girls or whatever they would say on the cover. And, there was a contest, and I don't know what the contest was, but I do know that I met the winner who still had all the winnings. And the contest, from what she remembers, was a goodbye to the old class, hello to the new class. And the winner received a couple of items, and these items are pretty cool. So the first one is the least of the cool. So I'm going to show it to you anyways. It is a Tiger Beat shirt autographed by the new cast.
Wow.
Wow.
That's cool.
Kind of a cool thing. I don't
More than just a
genuinely
signature.
think I don't think any of these people went on to do much of anything, but I should Google them one day. Actually, Mr. Belding is on here, so I guess he was the biggest then and still the biggest now. And Dustin Diamond is on here because he was on the new show as well, and that's kind of cool because he's no longer with us. But that wasn't the only prize. So another piece came with it, which is this official Saved by the Bell crew jacket.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's
Wow.
awesome.
Very
How
nice.
wild is this?
Like a
That's
Letterman's
really
jacket.
Yeah.
So it's got Saved by the Bell etched up and down the arm.
Oh
We've
man.
got a beautiful Bayside Tigers
Bayside
logo on the
Tigers.
Oh
front.
man, that's really cool.
Nice. Geez, it's in such lovely condition. I mean, this has got to be what, 30 plus years old now.
Yeah.
And just a wonderful, wonderful piece. Again, there can't be many of these. I mean, this thing went out of style when it was made, so it was never in. But I do very much enjoy it. I do love
That's
this
awesome.
piece. It's tough to display, but
Do you
great
wear
piece.
it?
You know what? It's like just a little tight on me, but I can wear it. There have been a few times. We had like a 90s concert come town. It was like, like that, like Vanilla Ice, Salt and Pepper and all that.
Yeah.
I wore it there and it was a huge hit. It was like a big
Yeah.
win for that night. So
Nice.
that was like the right, just squeezed it right in. Okay.
Because
these are my
I
three
didn't know if you
favorite-
would be weird about wearing stuff like that out or not. Because I'm kind of
You
the
know
same
what?
way with my stuff.
Oh, I'm
You know
super
what?
paranoid.
So, yeah, the only I'm never weird about what people think. Like
No,
I've
no, I
learned
mean,
just
like,
yeah,
what if
Ruining
but
it,
the,
food gets
spilling
on it or
something on
something?
it. Yeah.
that's what I'm worried about, right? For the same reason I don't use the Full House mug because I know I'm gonna break it. Well, I've never broken a mug. That's the one that'll break, right? Um, I of course I'll get a tear in the jacket or something like that will definitely happen. So for that reason, I avoid. It's a lot of my Nickelodeon clothes as well. I've got some really great stuff. Some of the really old vintage sweaters and that are just god ugly things, but amazing at the same time. And I'm so afraid to wear them. And
Yep.
um, so I've got three props. This is it, guys. This is the big, this
All
is the
right,
big
drum
moment.
roll.
This is big drum roll. These are three very key props. I'm going to start with the least of them. But I love this. This for me is really cool and it's super frameable. This is why I love it. So this is an actual screen used Bayside Breeze newspaper from the
Oh
original
man.
series, which is
Oh,
just
That's
really, really
cool.
cool. So
Yeah.
the school newspaper in any, of these type of shows is a big deal, right? Boy Meets World has it. Everybody has it. School newspaper. Now, this is probably an American thing because in Canada, school newspapers is like not a thing. Like, did you guys have a school
Really?
newspaper?
mhm.
Yeah,
Oh
we
yeah,
had
I
one.
did.
Yes.
Yeah,
I was one of the journalists and comic creators for my school newspaper.
That's cool.
so for me, this is like very Americanized, right? In a sense, like there are a lot of differences between Canada and the US in the high school. We don't use terms like sophomore and freshman. Those are
Right.
not terms at all that we use. Like a junior prom, what even is that, right? Like little things like that aren't, but there's not a lot of there's not a lot of clubs. There's not a lot of like sports teams. There's not a lot of that type of stuff. And so, at least not where I went. So when you watch these shows, you're like, wow, and even things like every teen sitcom has a Sadie Hopkins dance. Like, what even is that, right? So we don't know what that is. You guys probably know what that is. We don't know what that is.
That's when
But
the
we
girls ask
learn,
the guys out.
Yeah.
right? So we
Yep.
learn through you guys. So just a
Yeah.
really cool thing, Bayside Breeze. And what's really interesting about it is there's obviously there's real words here and I haven't this has been framed on my wall for a long time, and aside from like football team gets special treatment and don't forget to vote and the rest of the text they clearly just copied, not even from another newspaper. It's just the same like three paragraphs over and over, and it's talking about like
Hmm.
government policies. There's actual like words and stuff, but
I was
it's
gonna
just
Oh.
ask
like
if it's just like lorem ipsum or if there's
Yeah.
it's
actual
so I would
content.
assumed it was lorem ipsum, but it's really not. It's all sorts of but it's the same thing over and over and over. And then as you get to the back, there's like minor league stats, which like have nothing to do about anything, and it like
Hmm.
it. But anyways, it's great, super great prop, screen used. I love this. This is just a cherished possession of
You
mine.
know what I kind of wish? I used to do this stuff when I used to make props for my videos. I used to like write things that the camera wouldn't even see. Like it would just be
Oh
the
yeah.
most
Hmm.
non
Inside jokes.
sequitur paragraphs and just random things to say. And it'd be really cool if the crew would have wrote some funny stories to go along with that, even
Absolutely.
though they're not even
Yeah.
going to be seen.
And it feels like when I got this, I was like, oh my god, that was my first prop. Right? I was like, holy moly, and I really dove in and just kind of read it from front to back. And after about three paragraphs, I was like, I think I'm reading the same thing here. And you kind of want that. You want like
Yeah.
some, I was like,
All
what
work
is
and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
The quick brown fox
just
jumped over
just
the lazy
over,
dog.
yeah. So okay, moving on. This is a really cool piece. So a central location to Saved by the Bell is the restaurant they hang out at called the Max. So if you've ever watched Saved by the Bell, you know the Max. For some reason, this is a restaurant that apparently only children can attend, and it is evidently not open in the evenings. And if you have anything going on in school, you can, for some reason, get the Max to let you shut them down, and you can use the Max as at your own whim. And the Max is this wonderful place, and I genuinely used to believe that you guys all had these kind of malt
I
shops
wish.
that you
Oh,
all sort of
sorry.
let's go to the Max, and and there's this fantasy of like buying your own food and eating your own food when you're like 13 years
Yep.
old and just
Yep.
doing it after
Yeah.
anyways.
I'd love that if
This
that was real.
Where do they get the
so
money?
this is a screen used menu from the Max.
That's
And
That's very
awesome.
cool.
That's
very
awesome.
cool. Very, very
Is
cool.
it
And
also
it's
filled
got
with repeating government documents on the inside?
well, what's really okay, so I'm gonna flip this around and I'm gonna show you what's on the back. And what's on the back is super, super weird because there's almost no reason for it to be there. It is literally just a la carte, now serving food where prices appear. It is just a ton of listed food
And no
with
prices.
no pricing at all.
Oh.
And it says things like T-bone steak, pork chops, lamb chops. It's nothing that we ever saw at the Max. Fresh beans, it says.
Fresh beans, a bowl of beans, please.
Assorted pies, deviled eggs. Just the word
The bean
avocado.
sniffs.
Just
Avocado.
the old cottage. We have shrimp deluxe immediately followed by cottage cheese with fruit.
Oh, yummy.
wow.
Love my
I
shrimp
like
with
to
cottage
think-
cheese. Yum.
I like to think of that person who's like, I don't know which one, the shrimp deluxe or the cottage cheese,
Oh, so many choices.
bouncing
cheat day,
between
do
the
both.
two. So, cool story behind this. This comes from an individual who I got a random email one day, and that email was like, a friend of a friend told me you were a big fan of the Bell. And I was like, hello, mystery person. I am. Is this the whole conversation? And they said, hey, look, here's a bunch of really cool photos. And this person had been an extra in a ton of episodes and had all these really great photos from behind the scenes. And I was like, oh, wow, this is really cool. Like really cool shots. And they were like, yeah, by the way, I have this menu. I'd love to send it to you. I know I don't know you. But I'd love to send it to you and just have it go to a real fan. And so, what a
Aw.
cool thing to have
awesome.
happen.
Yeah.
What a nice gesture.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a big market for stuff like this, but yeah, so it's really cool, really beat up, really. And if you watch a lot of the episodes, you can see them with these. So there was probably 30 or 40 of these made and just used for years and years. And what an iconic piece. If you're a big fan of the show, the Max is a big plot point.
Man, no,
Absolutely.
I love.
I like the fact that the prop designer was like, okay, we need some food on the back. I'm going to list all the random food items I can in no particular order right
In
now.
no
Go.
order,
Yeah.
with no rhyme or reason. Alex, I should really take a shot of this for you, and you can.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's
I'm always a
hilarious.
big fan of those interior printed items for props and stuff that the designers have to come up with on the spot.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Like-
Absolutely.
I don't even know what Lyonnaise potatoes are. Like, I don't even know what that is.
It's too
And
American
the
for me, and I'm
volume,
an American.
I think
The
there's
sheer
cubed
volume of-
potatoes.
like the volume of pork. If it is as if the person who wrote this was like that scene in Forrest Gump where he lists shrimp, but he did it for pork, because it is listed like 19 times. Just different types of pork. So, anyways,
Peanut butter and shrimp sandwiches, shrimp milkshake, shrimp wine.
so
Why?
we now roll to the very last item of the evening. This is the big one. This is a really cool item. Just something that everyone recognizes. It has now been, you can get it as an official Halloween costume, all sorts of stuff. This is a screen used Bayside Tigers football jersey.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
wow!
Big deal. On the back says Bayside, and it's number 62. Now, what's interesting about 62 is that this is a character named Ox. Ox is the big, dumb oaf, bumbling kind of, football player who is in probably, 30% of the episodes. He's a very reoccurring character. Anytime there's something to do with football, Ox is there. So this is one of his, and I don't think there are many of these left. And it is like a real prop. Like, it is a very heavy. This is like a legit jersey. The patch is like fully sewn in. Like, it is really well made.
Wow.
And just a really cool item. Just a really, really super cool
Yeah,
item.
that is awesome.
And it is the third of that Team Beat win. It came with it too. So that was
Oh, wow.
quite the win. And
Oh man,
And so this is a prized possession. And the real shame is that I just have it hanging in a closet. I don't have it displayed anywhere because I find displaying shirts and jackets and stuff very cumbersome, very difficult. It takes up a lot of room. It's very expensive. It's all those things. And I love that I own it. And sometimes I take it out and I just look at it. And I did once wear it to a costume party. And Manny, to your point, I had the worst time ever because all I worried about was getting something on it.
Mhm.
And
Nobody touched
so
me.
yeah,
Former
Yeah.
everyone
perimeter.
stay away.
Even as like a
Um,
cosplayer, I'm just like, nobody touch me, nobody.
I understand.
So these are my items. These are my babies. You guys have
I
Those
love
are
it.
Awesome,
incredible,
man.
man. That's
So
some
taken
really
a
cool
For
trip
stuff.
sharing
through.
that. That's amazing.
Yeah, no. Thanks for letting me share it, guys. Thanks for letting me get the love out and share some of this cool stuff with the world. It's again, as I've said before about my Nick collection, and as I say about all this, when the time has come for me, I don't know what I will ever do with all of this, but I collect it and I keep it for now. And you can't have everything forever. So I do hope one day I can pass these wonderful things off to people who will love them just as much.
And that's what it's all about. And
Yeah.
it's really cool that you
Share the love.
shared these type of items to you because they obviously mean so much to you. And it means so much to us getting to see these items and hearing your stories as well.
Yeah.
So
You
thank
preserve them
you.
so well, and that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
an important
Yeah.
thing. Is collecting is also about preserving them so that they can keep lasting on for another 30 years or so, right? For
I
the
agree.
next generation.
It's always interesting to me too. I always think about like the volumes of this type of stuff that does exist, right? All the Nickelodeon shows we've got, we've all got little things from it, and eventually, for one reason or another, things do get destroyed. And so
Mhm.
every day there's just less and less of this vintage stuff. Things get thrown
Yeah.
out, things get
Yeah.
destroyed, things get,
Mhm.
whatever, right? For whatever reason. And the further away we get from the origin of it, the less and less we have. And
Yeah.
there are I don't know a lot of other stuff that exists. I did see for Full House, I know one person who owns a few pieces of equipment that they use to film it, and it has like the logo spray painted on the side, and that's really about it.
Yeah.
Although for those of you who lightly watched Saved by the Bell, you may remember in early seasons, Screech had a full standing robot named Kevin that would
Yes.
talk to
Oh,
him.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I know who owns Kevin. That prop does
Really.
exist, and
Wow.
that is a really cool, like holy grail prop. It's also
Yeah.
so massive
I
and so
imagine.
big
And
that
heavy.
it's like the size of like a small child, if not bigger.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what you would do with it. So I'm real happy with what I've got, and
Yeah,
but
display
I
it
want
like
to,
like a knight in the castle or something. Just display it on the wall.
Keep it in the closet.
Put it in your
when you
foyer.
open it.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for everything you do. You keep the nostalgia alive. I'm so grateful to be able to be a part of it and to find my way to give back. I hope the audience loves this. I've got some really cool stuff lined up for the next time that we do Collector's Corner again. We're gonna go right back into Nickelodeon. Of course, I've got some. I'm already brewing on something big, and as I've been cleaning up my stuff, I've been like putting it all in one spot so I can be ready for it. But I think the audience is going to want Camp Cucamonga. I think Bennett's going to want to come on and talk about
Let's
writing
do
it
it.
and filming it. I think we make Camp Cucamonga happen.
I want that to
I'm ready
happen.
for it.
Yes.
And thank
I
you
will
again for
listen.
taking us
Yeah.
back through this because it really did re-spark some memories of my love of these shows, especially Saved
You
by
got
the
it.
Bell.
Alex, you got to sit down with your wife and do the Saved by the Bell run. You owe it. You owe it to yourself.
You do.
It is that good. It is that bad that it's that good. Like it's gone from good to bad back to good again. We've done the
Yeah.
whole cycle.
Give it
But
a
I mean, with
shot.
the
Some of
streaming
the best
thing,
stuff to watch.
it's gonna blow you away too, because like I said, when I first watched it streaming, it started with the Miss Bliss show, and then after that, it went into the Saved by the Bell show.
Yep.
So it's like,
So
interesting.
what am I watching?
Yeah, what am
This
I
the
watching?
right-
Like, this
this
is the right
labeled?
show. Yeah, so I didn't know.
Well, again, thank you, Russ, for taking the time to come out and share with us these really awesome things. I love hearing your stories and learning more about this history and all these things. I mean, I love Full House. and Megan Loves Friends and Full House. I didn't even know the thing about the set. That's so cool. I don't even know if she knows. I'm gonna have to tell her and blow her mind now. But if for all of you out there who are watching, please give Russ a follow. You can follow him on Instagram. He's got Nickelodeon_collector. You can find him there. I will put a link down in the description below. If you haven't seen the first Collector's Corner with him, go check that out because it's freaking awesome. And we got a whole playlist. If you guys like all this stuff, we have a whole playlist of Collector's Corner episodes, which is going to be at the end of this episode. Just click on that link. But thank you again so much. We appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Anytime.
And for the rest of you guys, we'll splat you later.
Splat you later.
Splat later.
Splat you later.
This episode was recorded at Splat Studios, in virtual home studios, though none in Florida.